We've got butternut squash slaw, perfect for Thanksgiving. So we're going to use about a pound of Brussels sprouts, a small squash, some pomegranate seeds, some pepper, and then our dressing ingredients, a little onion and pumpkin seeds. Delicious. You're just going to chop off the top of the squash and then slice it down the center. And it's easier than it looks. You could buy already pre-sliced squash if you want. That's your choice. We're just going to scrape out the seeds, super easy with the spoon. Set them to the side, compost them. And then we're going to peel the squash. So I just used my standard carrot peeler. You could use a knife if you want. It's not hard to peel the squash. Super simple. But if you are pressed for time and you're doing a Thanksgiving dinner, you might want to buy these already chopped and sliced. It's up to you. I like sitting it down on a cutting board, holding it, and using the slicer as well. It's a little bit easier to handle that way. And then once you're finished, you've got your butternut squash. We're just going to feed it through the food processor along with all of the other ingredients, other than the dressing, of course. And I'm using my shredder attachment. We're putting in the Brussels sprouts. Now, once you do all of this, it's going to be a fairly wet mixture. So you might want to let it set in a colander over a bowl and drain it just a little bit. You could also press it by setting something on top of it to just press those juices out. Just put a bowl inside of a bowl kind of thing. You could squeeze it through a nut cloth, cheesecloth. And as you are shredding this, it's going to start to probably go up the sides just a little bit. Now, I'm not going to show it to you right here. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it. But I'm just moving it down off the sides with my hands. You could use a spoon or whatever you've got, but just be careful of the blade, right? You don't want to catch your hand on that blade. And then we're going to finish shredding the rest of our ingredients, our onion, our peppers, the rest of the squash, the rest of the Brussels sprouts. And here's what it looks like. And even though it looked like we were going to have a lot because of that squash and all of the Brussels sprouts and the onion, it really doesn't add up to a ton of slaw. So it's just the perfect size for probably about 8 people, 6 to 8, depending on how big of a side they want of it. And like I said, you want to probably drain it just a little bit, squeeze out a little bit of the water if your vegetables have a lot of water in them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Now we're going to start to make our dressing. We're just going to take some olive oil, balsamic vinegar. You could use whatever vinegar you've got on hand. I like the flavor of balsamic with this. And then we're going to add a little maple syrup, little Dijon mustard, salt and pepper, whisk that up, and we're going to just pour it over the slaw. Now, I suggest don't pour it over the slaw until you're ready to serve it. You just don't want it to be even more wet when you serve it. So wait, toss it right before you want to eat, and then we will add pumpkin seeds and the pomegranate seeds to it if you want that. You could do dried cranberries instead of pomegranate seeds if you want. Sometimes they're hard to find. They're definitely seasonal. And we're just going to toss that. And if you wanted to, you could always chop this with a knife if you didn't want it as fine of a shred as I have from the food processor. So completely up to you, whatever size slaw you want. Throw those pumpkin seeds on there, boost the protein and the crunch and zinc, and we're going to make a delicious side dish that everyone is going to love for Thanksgiving or any time.